Hi, I'm Stunning Stella Cheeks.
And I'm the Enigma Erin Klein.
And this is Not Your Demographic, a feminist wrestling podcast.
Shockingly, those exist.
I had a way that I wanted to cleverly start this and I forgot. So that's why I was like, wait.
Do you still forget?
Yeah.
So I think this is really good that this is my last episode, because after last week and you telling me that wrestling was fake, I'm just seeing bad inconsistencies anywhere. Okay, so why when Roman Reigns speared Jinder Mahal through that wall, that on the other side of that wall was a fully painted hallway with bathroom signs and stuff in it? Why was that there? Who walled that up? What is this Renegade Carpenter doing? What is this Renegade drywaller doing in these hallways in London? That's such a much more interesting story than anything they're doing with Roman Reigns right now. But it's also not real.
Speaking of wrestling not being real, when I went out with a couple friends on Friday and we were drunk, and I convinced one of them to let me put them in a guillotine chokehold.
Was that what your story was? That was real?
That was Liz.
Oh my God. Oh, Liz is so tall and lanky as well.
I know. And she was unprepared for my full body weight.
Did you have you did have your legs grapevined around her, didn't you?
Yeah, I put her in a guillotine hold and I brought her all the way down.
And then Stell cranks back and looks at the camera and goes, "This is wrestling."
Yeah, anyways, don't wrestle your friends when you're drunk. I'm really grateful that she didn't get hurt. Anyways, we were joking. We were walking to a bar, and I made a joke, and I was like, wrestling is fake. And some drunk, angry guy, while walking by me, goes, "It's sports entertainment," and just kept walking. It was so funny.
There are so many different kinds of wrestling fans in this world, but you're probably going to encounter the worst of them first.
That was so funny to me. How are you? Final week for you on the pod.
Yeah, well, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you'll still be around.
I'll be around.
You're just not co-hosting.
I'm all right. It's been a hectic week for us, and it's going to continue throughout our weekend, which is going to be great fun.
Speaking of which, if you're in the Chicagoland area and you want to see Plan 9 perform, you can find us on Saturday at Stage 773 as part of the Chicago Nerd Comedy Festival. We're closing out the Saturday show. We're in the 11 p.m. slot. You can buy tickets to the whole festival and go see a bunch of stuff, or you can just buy stuff for our show. I think the tickets are $15. And then on Sunday, Erin and I, with Bobby's help in the booth, will be doing a live Not Your Demographic. It's free, so if you are around and want to come to that, it's at noon at Stage 773. And after that, I think we'll be popping over to the Zello Pro show. So we're going to do a show and then a wrestling.
Planning some fun stuff for the Not Your Demographic live show. We'll see what comes together. Your guys are going to have a guest on, right?
Yeah, Courtney Rose from Face Like Feministas and Heart Eyes pod is going to come on, and we're going to do a fun little game. Then me and Erin are kind of just going to dissect the state of women's wrestling, and then we're going to do a fun music wrestling game with Bobby and Erin.
What wrestling theme song do you think Courtney wants to walk on to?
I will ask.
Okay, cool.
I believe I've asked this before, but I'm sure she knows.
Yes.
Mine will always be Let's Have a Kiki.
Yes.
That's my wrestling song.
I mean, okay, so no, I'll play you guys on
No, you'll play us our normal one. But I'm saying if anybody ever wanted to know if you were a wrestler, what would your entrance theme song be? Mine is Let's Have a Kiki by the Sisters.
And if you ever play that song just at a party or something, Stell will beef up and punch someone in the face.
Dive, turn, work. Let's have a kiki. Yeah, this week has been, I woke up this morning, I was like, it's Wednesday. Oh, it's Wednesday.
Oh, honey. It's only Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I had a really enjoyable weekend. It was just lots of working, but also lots of yummy food and hanging out, which was relaxing and nice for the first time in a while. I also watched Baby Driver, and it gave me weird heart palpitations. And I was like, I love action movies. Why am I freaking out? I was freaking out the whole time. Spoiler alert. Pause. Because I thought the old deaf man that he lives with was going to get murdered. And the whole time I was like, this is some John Wick bullshit, and I cannot go through this man being murdered. He was not, thankfully. Also, I hate Jamie Foxx, and he was ruining the movie for me.
Yeah, because that's Edgar Wright.
Yeah,
correct?
It's a very Edgar Wright film. It's really fun.
And I never saw it because of Jamie Foxx, and then like right around the time that got out for rental, all that Kevin Spacey stuff went down as well.
I didn't. Yeah.
So like I went past it in my rotation, and I haven't come back around on it yet.
It's fun, but it definitely.
It, but...
Jamie Foxx is just. I really just don't enjoy Jamie Foxx, so it was rough. And then the Kevin Spacey stuff is ooky, but alas,
it's ooky.
It's icky.
Das icky.
What wrestling shirt are you wearing?
I am wearing an old school pre-Bullet Club Marty Scurll the villain shirt because I'm a fucking wrestling hipster.
I remember this shirt because I remember seeing you wear this shirt before I had ever seen Marty Scurll, and I was like, that is a dope ass shirt because it's the skull with the glasses, long live the villain. And you were like, this is a wrestling guy, you gotta watch him. And I was like, noted. This looks cool.
And speaking of epitomes of coolness, your wrestling shirt.
I'm wearing my Queen Bee Tessa Blanchard shirt because she has been killing it all over the place.
All over the place. Can do no wrong right now, honestly.
Also, found out, did you know she's only 22 and has been wrestling for only 4 years? Yeah. She's that good. Mm-hmm. This is some like Tyler Bate nonsense where he's like a baby but is like an incredible wrestler.
And she's been, around wrestling
her whole life.
But still, that's 22 years old, and she's already, in my opinion, like a total package performer.
Oh,
great
for
in the
sure.
Ring, great on the mic, carries herself so well.
Yeah, I love her so much. And so Impact Wrestling did a video package about her, kind of hyping her as a wrestler. It wasn't villainy at all. Like, I know she's a heel, but it was just more about like, I am the best, and this is why I'm the best. I'm a third-generation wrestler. Here's where I come from. Like, I grew up around it, and now I've dedicated my life to it. And when she was like, I've only been doing it for 4 years, I was like, what? But you're so good. I was, like, stunned. And I am just very happy for her. Next week on Impact, so tomorrow night, yesterday, whatever, time is...
a flat circle. We're constantly spinning about it, yes.
She is facing off with Kira Hogan in their like feud, so I'm very excited about that. And then I'll see her on Sunday because she's at the Zella Pro show because she is the Zella Pro Women's Champion. And she's also crushing it all over with All In stuff. She's the best. I love her so much.
Working her ass off, too.
Really,
right
for
now.
sure.
Like, everywhere right now.
Yeah, and she has the best, well, on the indies, she has the best theme song. Because if you start with a Shirley Bassey, like, Diamonds Are Forever, that's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, where do you go from there?
Diamonds are forever.
I don't think I've paid much attention. What is her, like...
It's just, like, generic, like, wrestler music. Just, like, upbeat, whatever.
Oh, man, now that we're talking about this completely throws off the order of everything, but it's the thought that popped in my mind. So, 205 Live this week, Drake Maverick walked out to, like, a different theme than he usually does, than he has in the past. It's actually one of Xavier Woods' old NXT themes.
Really?
Yeah. That whole, I'm the man. He's the man. Dude. That's like one of Xavier Woods' old NXT themes.
That's really funny.
Twice, and it barely got used. And when it came on, I was like, oh my god, this theme. Oh, I forgot this existed. Why is nobody doing a drag number to this song?
There's a lot of new themes this week. Grado got a new theme song. Mm-hmm. I mean, it still starts with "It's yourself" because it's got to.
Grado, and Grado is a vessel of marketing, right? Like that's just its catchphrase. That's it. Catchphrase.
Lots of new themes. Yeah. Also, speaking of Tessa and All In sold out in like less than 30 minutes.
And we're going,
which is going to be awesome. We did not get the seats we wanted because we got bumped off and now we're in the like nosebleed, but hey, they're $30 and we still got in and we don't have to pay for fucking scalpers. That sucks, especially because I like how Matt and Nick and Cody have been like, we've seen them being on these resale sites and like, that's not what this is about. We just want everybody who wants to be there to be there. I like that they said something about it because they're like, we obviously are in this for money, but we are also kind of not in it for money. Like, we want to make a statement. And they're making a hell of a goddamn statement. And whoever is running their marketing deserves a goddamn marketing award. They are doing an excellent job.
Absolutely. They're turning things over really, really well. And I was looking at the numbers on it, and I saw a couple different articles, and, like, the amount of scalped tickets that are up for sale right now aren't actually that big comparatively to other events and things like that. And the
That's
prices
good.
that are going for are like normal scalping prices. So it's not like there's a whole section of the audience that's the front row that got scalped out of getting tickets. It was just more than like ticket scalpers. Everyone's tickets buying situation got fucked up because that site crashed.
Yeah, it did not anticipate.
Immediately. Like, they were even showing, it was actually really cool and heartfelt on the episode of The Elite that came out last week. They did like their regular storyline episode, and then after that for like 10 minutes it was all the all-in stuff and kind of behind the scenes stuff. And then in the car afterwards, and like Hangman's on his phone trying to like buy tickets just to see what he can do, and couldn't get on the site minutes after the event.
Yeah, it sold out within like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Like 10,000 seats, that's a lot.
And then just, you know, Cody being speechless, the Bucks being ecstatic, like, really, really cool for them.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of also really cool things, I just want to say that we have really good fans and really good listeners, because I woke up to about 10 different people sending me that Drew Galloway or Drew McIntyre, like, crotch shot with him in the UK. Like, him really, like, sexy doing the, like, suck it. So many people said that to me, and I was like, my brand is strong. Also, thank you so much for this beautiful crotch shot over and over again.
Really, really good. So many people have your back like that. Yeah.
I also want to talk about how much of a badass Charlotte Flair is. Like, I knew, we all knew she was a badass. Like, she's the queen for a reason. But the fact that she has been wrestling with a ruptured implant for a long time.
Since, like, before WrestleMania, we learned, holy shit.
Hasn't missed a fucking beat. And also got a bunch of her teeth knocked out. Went and got them fixed, and then was at the NBC upfronts like nothing happened. She is the queen. She's a beast.
Just back in doing her job. So, so cool.
Less cool. How do you feel about all of this, like, John Cena, Nikki Bella, Today Show drama?
I feel like I'm being manipulated, and I don't like it, because we cared, right? Like, we cared so much, and when it came out, like, you were invested. But now, if they're just playing this, it's gonna be not a good look at all.
Sean from Cage Side had a good point. He was like, I feel like I'm being manipulated because it's wrestling and everything's a work. But also, like, and don't get me wrong, I love them, but Nikki Bella is not that good of an actor to pull all of this stuff off. Like, the stuff where, like, John Cena went on the Today Show and was like, I want to have her kids. He didn't say, I want to have, well, I didn't listen to it all because it made me uncomfortable. But to my knowledge, he didn't say, I want to be the father to our children. He said her children, which is fucking weird. And he seems like he's being weird and manipulative with his fucking post-breakup goatee, whatever. But somebody brought it up to her at the NBC upfronts and she hadn't seen it, and she looked genuinely shocked. She was like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Which is so fucking scary to me, because, you know, you're John Cena then, and you're just going to talk about that on the Today Show? It seems like that.
It seemed weird and manipulative.
That made me suspicious and maybe manipulative or whatever. And, like, you know, okay, so remind yourself that these are people that we don't actually know.
Oh, for sure. That is also really important to remember.
Yeah. These are people who we view on television in different roles and in different environments or whatever, but
mostly in a reality TV situation, because WWE is also somewhat of a reality TV show.
Absolutely. And so we don't know what they reflexively act like when they're surprised by things or when they're going through hard relationship drama.
Yeah, Erin brought this up. She was like, I hope Nikki Kate Middletoned him and he realized how much he fucked up. Like, that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is it's like a weird work and it's like marketing for Total Bellas and Total Divas, which is like also kind of brilliant. And even if it's not that and they've turned it into that because the Bellas are like marketing geniuses, like also good on them. I don't know. I'm still tuning into Total Bellas, premiering this Sunday. Very excited. Thank you so much.
Like, if you're getting mad, if this ends up being a work, like a play or whatever, and you're angry about that, like, take a step back and look at the reference. Everyone views someone like Andy Kaufman, whose whole life was a work.
Right. Absolutely.
Who worked everyone all of the time, who was so into performance art, because wrestling is a performance.
Performance art.
That became a reality to him and the people around him. The fact that, like, when he died, nobody actually believed he was dead, and that's how deep it went. And so if Nikki and John kind of work a breakup angle for a while, and they do it convincingly, I'll fucking give it to them. Absolutely.
Yeah, right? It's still weird, but, like, whatever, their lives are weird.
Absolutely. How could their lives not be weird? As much as time as they spend on TV, either whether it be, you know, on wrestling programs or in their reality programs, like, that's a lot of your life that's in the public eye. How could that not be fucked up?
2 ickies and then a good. Rich Swann is now going to be a part of Impact Wrestling.
I was gonna ask you about that.
I was very disappointed. I mean, I I feel like it was inevitable because Sue Young is on there and she hasn't pressed charges and they still work together and it seems like they at least are trying to make it work. I don't know. I don't want to expound on their relationship, but they are together still and it makes sense that she would attempt to bring him on. And he's getting booked lots of places. Like, I think because there were no charges filed, even though there were like eyewitnesses to weird stuff, people get like a free pass to like do whatever they want.
I read some notes from a phone interview or a conference or whatever you want to call it, that was put out by Don Callis, who's running, that got kind of brought up. And he said, and this is, it's still wrestling people talking wrestling, and Don Callis now runs Impact, so he wants to spin everything in a positive light. But the way he was talking about it when Rich Swann got brought up was that they are going to bring him on. Sue was actually someone who pulled for him to be there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Right.
Publicly, like what we know, like it's weird. It's a very uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
That I can't say like how I feel about it outright right now, because you're not allowed to tell someone what you think about their trauma and what they're going through in a way that means you're more right than them. That's their own personal life experience and they get to live it and make their own decisions.
For sure. It's just like, as a viewer, it is like a weird thing.
And that's why he went away for a while. And
that's why he got fired.
Let's say that's why he got fired. And that's why he was retired for a little bit.
For like not ever. He said he was going to retire and then he didn't.
Yeah. And all of that was very public. And I don't think they can proceed without that knowledge.
Blah.
Other thing is the Enzo case was dropped, no charges were filed, and he released a statement that said he's looking to get back into entertainment.
Don't care. Don't miss him.
I really doubt WWE would ever bring him back because he was such like a pain in the ass for them outside of this that like they probably use this for better or worse as an excuse to get rid of him because he may have been selling merch, but he was like an unbearable pain in the ass.
Whether that was a straw camel situation or, whether it wasn't backstage what we were all believed it to be, all the stuff of him getting kicked off of buses and all of that. Personally, as a fan and someone who watches the product, I could not stand him.
Never.
Did not like watching him purely as a performer, because everything past that is speculative. I don't miss him and I don't want to see him back.
Don't want him back.
Just don't care.
Yeah, I just hope that his entertainment career fails miserably.
I think he is a dumpster fire that can either be stationary or rolling downhill or falling off a cliff and exploding, but he's always going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah. He seems to be, even if all of this other stuff was not true, which I'm not saying that, but he just seems to be like somebody that can't pull his head out of his own ass.
We talked about Chris Jericho last week and somebody who like wanted to be this rock star wrestler guy, and he's doing that and he's living that gimmick. The other side of that coin, the other side of living your gimmick, is fucking Enzo Amore
being a monster,
being a fucking monster and a shitty person everywhere.
I bet he comes out with a terrible like white rapper album.
Oh, absolutely. He's gonna come out with a trap record.
Okay, last piece of good news that is good news is the first UK competitors were announced for the United Kingdom tournament. I don't know all of them, and I
know all of them.
Okay, I will say their names, and you can tell me if I'm pronouncing them wrong. Joe Coffey, who
I talked about Tessa Blanchard earlier and being like a total package performer. Joe Coffey is on the other side of it. He's older. He's pushing 30 or is almost 30. His work in ICW is amazing. The guy is impressive in the ring. He looks like a guy who should be in WWE, and he cuts a hell of a promo. Joe Coffey's fucking great.
Wait, he was the one that was on 205 Live.
Joe Coffey?
This week.
No.
Kenny Williams was the one on 205 Live.
Yes. Who looks completely different. Joe Coffey's a big dude.
I'm just looking at people who I don't know.
Okay, keep going through the list. Yeah,
okay, Joe Coffey, Joseph Connors, who we know, El Ligero, who I do know.
Yes, and I'm so fucking happy for Ligero, too.
I know him because I watched like 5 chapters of Progress.
Right, so you saw him like in the beginning of Progress.
Yeah.
And he's like, his thing now on the internet is he's the hardest working indie wrestler, and he wrestles like 5 shows a day. He's kind of the new age El Generico, and it's going to be really interesting to see that on TV. I'm so excited for him. Elsewhere on that list is another guy I'm really excited to see on WWE programming, Zach Gibson.
I also know him because he was in the first couple episodes of Progress.
And Zach is one of the most successful villains in all of British wrestling right now. The boos that he gets when he grabs a mic on his entrance are like Vicky Guerrero level hate from the audience. Like, it's fun to hate Zach Gibson in the same way it was fun to hate Vicky Guerrero. And I think that's how you be a villain in modern wrestling right now. That's going to be really interesting to see that played out on WWE programming in a hometown audience for Zach. I'm really, really excited about that.
Jack Gallagher, we obviously know.
Absolutely.
Amir Jordan.
Yes.
Dave Mastiff.
The bastard Dave Mastiff. Think Big Damo, but cuter and can move faster.
Okay.
But like that size of a dude.
Yeah, no, I've seen their pictures.
Yeah.
And then Kenny Williams, who we saw on 205 Live this week.
Yeah.
I really, really like when 205 Live is in the UK. And I kind of wish that they would, we've talked about 205 Live needing another belt. And me and Aaron go back and forth. Aaron thinks it works better on the NXT roster. I think that the UK belt works really well on 205 Live. And the UK wrestlers work really well on 205 Live. They integrated seamlessly, and the 2 matches that we had were great.
Out of the people that you've named, like the people that can't be on 205 Live are Coffey and Mastiff and maybe Gibson. But everyone else who's in the UK division right now, they work that style and they fit there.
But I feel like you could flub it. You could call it 205 Live, but then bring in a belt that is another gimmick belt. I don't know. Who cares? Wrestling is fake. They could do whatever they want. And I think that those people fit really well on that show.
I also think because, we've heard all of this, NXT's gonna be its own brand, gonna do their own thing.
Oh, the NXT UK thing?
Well, no, so that's gonna happen, like the global NXTs, but also I'd really like to see them integrate more talent between the guys who aren't being used a lot in 205 Live, like Noam Dar, like Zach Gallagher.
Well, Noam Dar was hurt for a long time.
Yeah, he's gonna come back soon though, I think.
Right, but like that, I'm just saying,
yeah.
He's not there for a reason.
Absolutely. I'd like to see a little bit more fluidity in those rosters, and I think that might be fun.
Yeah, I would agree. I especially think that would work really well if they do bring a women's tag back. And I don't think that they should do a women's tag that's like a Raw women's tag and a SmackDown women's tag and an NXT women's tag. Like, you have those belts and those are important, but I really think they should maybe just have one women's tag and it can float between any of the brands. Like how they have Money in Bank that can float between both. Like, I like that more. I like that idea.
Yeah, and they, NXT just established this United States Championship. I would love to see them mess around a bit with that. If it's only going to be an NXT belt, then that's kind of flooded. If that floats around between the UK division, between 205, that's going to be a lot more interesting. There's also, we just talked about the WWE UK division in this tournament. There's also a hella bunch of women talent in the UK that I want them to tap into.
Well, there are rumors that Toni Storm is being signed and others. I don't know.
Toni has all of the belts right now. She's got belts in Stardom. She's got belts in so many promotions in the UK. She's on top right now. It would be really interesting if she signed. It would be really interesting if Piper Niven signs. Just make a really, really pretty belt and put a Gucci trademark on it and just give a belt to Ginny. She deserves a belt. She's everything. Give a belt to Ginny.
Well, we also have to take into consideration that there will be another Mae Young Classic. And now that we've seen with the UK, like, there are repeats. Like, Joseph Connors was in the other one, and he's in this one. Like, that's a repeat. So, theoretically, there will be repeats in the Mae Young Classic as well, which I think there should be. Somebody like Piper Niven should be in it again. Or somebody like Tessa Blanchard, who got out in the first round because she went toe-to-toe with Kyrie. Like, that makes sense. Obviously, she probably won't be because she's signed with Impact and other stuff, but I'm just saying, like, there are opportunities to bring some women back.
And I'm not mad that they're repeating talents at all. I think those are really good
it's
reference
smart.
points for fans. Absolutely. And even if there are people who they haven't seen last tournament, you're going to remember Mia Yim from last year's Mae Young. And if you see her again this year, even if it's just for a match and she's not in the first round, that's going to bring people back who might not know the newer names in the tournament.
For sure. Speaking of British wrestling, so we didn't watch a Joshi match this week because we were just going to get our shit together, but I got blown off by a friend this week, so I watched the first episode of Riptide, and then I made Bobby watch one match because I really want to talk about it, and it is the three-way with British Strong Style, so Pete, Tyler, and Trent versus Candice LeRae, Joey Ryan, and Colt Cabana.
Who, in my head, I was just calling World's Cutest Cabana.
World's cutest cabana. It was one of the funnest matches I've watched in such a long time. First of all, the Riptide style is gorgeous. Like the cinematic, the everything that they're going for is great. I kind of like that they do like almost movie trailers of the entrances and you don't even get the whole entrance and it's really just about the in-ring because like entrances are important and can be really fun, but this kind of sets Riptide apart. And I love that there is no commentary. For this particular style, you don't need it. And I didn't need it. And I didn't miss it once.
Absolutely. Yeah. So doing kind of the montage of fans chanting entrance type thing is something without the sound PWG's been using for years to get around copyright claims.
Yep.
We know, like, and Candice comes onto that song by The Darkness. You can't play more than 15 seconds of that without getting sued. Like,
that's also not real. That's not how copyright laws work.
Yeah, but that's, that's what everyone's told, yes. What everyone's warned about. Everything was shot with really stark overhead lighting. There was such a focus on, like, floating cameras and angles. And there were a lot of camera angle changes, but it wasn't so frenetic and so zoomy like the current nice WWE cameras. Product and the NJPW product even. And they were nice cameras. It was all very high quality.
I have PWG DVDs and they're fine, but like these were like clearly like HG, like nice cameras.
PWG has existed because they sell out their live shows all the time and people will buy the product, whatever it is. They've never had to focus on production. Whereas Riptide,
that's their whole thing.
Absolutely. Like it
good
seems
wrestling
like,
is their thing, but like
also
looking good.
They book good shows, but even when you're in this arena, like it's a bar show. They lowered the lights everywhere else. They put really stark lighting on the wrestlers, which can give you, theater nerd coming on me, can give you really cool incidental shadowing and really cool silhouetting. And then they taught these cameramen how to move in a way
or they just hired real cameramen.
Keeps you invested. I mean, there was one shot in this match where after Candice and Joey do that spot where Joey and Candice grab hands and she runs up the turnbuckle and across the ropes and then jumps off and does a Hurricane Rana. Like they switched to a wide shot of that, like far back all the way back in the bar, to the shot of just Candice standing up from the ground and coming back to ring level. And it was powerful.
Yeah.
In a really personal way.
Also, this match was just so fucking funny.
Yes, absolutely.
This is like peak Cabana, peak Joey, all of British Strong Style got like really good moments. And Candice was like the badass of the match,
absolutely.
Which is like, that's Candice's thing, especially when she wrestles dudes. And she had funny moments, but like it starts with Joey and Tyler and Joey just immediately is like, hey, touch my dick. And Tyler's like, no. Hey,
the fans
touch
start
my
chanting,
dick.
The fans start chanting, grab his dick. And then Cabana starts yelling at all everyone. Grab his fucking dick if you don't grab his dick right now.
He was so mad about it. And it worked so well because it's Colt Cabana, but him being so mad, like there's a point, they keep switching and then like Trent comes in and he's like, Joey's like, just touch the tip. And Trent has a really funny line where he like looks back and they're like, Pete and Tyler are like, don't do it. And Trent's just like, I kind of want to though.
Trent 7 smells like sandalwood.
You assume.
I assume. I don't know for real. Yeah.
And then Colt Cabana gets in the ring and just goes up like.
Right into his face.
Oh no, that was with Pete.
Yeah, with
Pete comes next.
When Pete was in, yeah.
And then Colt Cabana gets in the ring, goes straight up to Pete's face and was like, you will touch this man's dick right now. And then Pete just looks at him with his like bruiserweight like scowl and just grabs Cabana's dick and Cabana's like, no, not so my dick.
You're gonna start touching dicks right now. Just grabs it. So good. Candice wasn't in this match for the longest time.
The longest time was just Joey trying to convince them to touch his dick. And there was like no wrestling.
Yeah. Which, for a match with those 3 performers who are touring endlessly and
all 6 of them are touring endlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a bar show like that, like go out there, have fun.
And it was one of Candice's last matches too.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
I love how they finally get a hand on Joey's dick is I think Tyler goes to grab Candice and Candice just sidesteps and there's Joey behind her like, no, I've been trapped. I've been trapped by the dick.
Later in the match, a lovely spot between Joey and Tyler, where it was dick grabbing versus mustache grabbing.
Oh yeah, that was so good.
Tyler Bate's so cute, but he's only 21 years old. So like,
I mean, 21 is still like fully 100% legal.
Yeah, I know. I personally, I would feel weird about it. But he did great in this match. And it was interesting in progress when the whole British Strong Style thing happened, seeing that dynamic between the three of them, because, you know, Pete's such a big personality. Trent Seven's such a big personality. And Tyler was kind of kind of meek as far as when British Strong Style started as this big heel faction, which they absolutely weren't here. Like there was...
No, but they totally were the heels. They were the heels, but they were silly heels.
Full on comedic heels.
Right.
Yeah.
They were still the bad guys, quote unquote, because like the crowd was like obviously so over for Joey and Cabana and Candice. And they are like essentially good guys, but they were silly heels and they like adapted so well to it. I also really like there were several spots in the match where there were like 3-on-3 moves where it'd be like the heels and the faces, and then, you know, British Strong Style did like the 3-way bim bam bop thing or whatever, the like Tyler Bate punch, and then there was later when the good guys did something together. Like it was just like a good callback that they kept like, it just kept moving. Like it wasn't the fastest match, but it had such a consistent storyline. And there was also a moment where Joey, after Pete had his like hand on Joey's dick, like the rest of British Strong Style came in to break it up. And then Trent was like beating up Joey for a while, but then made the mistake of like trying to drop Joey on his knee. And then he like almost broke his knee because like, what a fool. Why would you try and knee Joey in the dick? I also like that there was a moment where I don't remember who had their hand on Joey's dick, but one of them did. And then the other three guys were like, we got this. And they all joined in. And it was like, no, we don't got this. Not even three of us can do it.
So yeah, Tyler was grabbing Joey's dick. And then the three of them said something all together. And then the three of them grabbed his dick. And so then it was working for a while. And then Joey got all the three of them down to their knees. And then Candice and Colt come in with water and pour it in Joey's mouth, and he like thrusts and spits out the water, and all of British Strong Style explodes from Joey's dick. It was so fucking good.
It was twofold, because it was obviously like kind of like supposed to look like cum or whatever, but then also British Strong Style is like, they are Triple H's like boys, and so they do the pedigrees and they do the spitting, and so it was like also mocking them, which they did that late. They did like a 3-way pedigree later on. Mm-hmm. There was also a really beautiful moment where Colt put the Billy Goat's curse on Pete, and Candice did an octopus style submission on Trent, and then Joey did Sweet Tooth music to Tyler, and it was just like this beautiful like, we all get to do our moves, we all get to have our moments. They had so many good moments like that, where all 6 of them were in sync, but like the teams were also really in sync, and it was just so fun because like after that they had the 3 pedigrees together. Like it was just so fluid and fun. I just had such a good time.
The beauty of that spot specifically, and just how to bring an audience into a match and build up their tension and let it relieve them, was Colt got the Billy Goat's curse on Tyler, on Pete first, and then Candice got Trent in the octopus hold, and then Joey gives Tyler the lollipop and kicks him in the face and covers him. 1, 2, 3, Tyler kicks out, and both of the wrestlers release the holds as well. So it's just, it's this build, and then it's But so like that's watching the match live, but the production aspect of all of this, it's really interesting, and it's unlike, so like when Beyond started, they would have matches without commentary because it was supposed to be a show that was just put on by the wrestlers. This is different than that. Like it
feels like a movie.
This has the end product in mind the whole time. I like that there's room for wrestling for products like that. I like that there's room in wrestling for products in the WWE. I like that there's room in wrestling for products like Chikara, which wouldn't make sense if you honestly didn't have commentary telling you what the hell is going on. And there's space for you to decide what you want to watch and how, and like, what works for you.
Yeah, you can also just hear them talking more in the ring. There was a lot of like matches in this first Riptide, which is technically the second Riptide, but it's the first one that you can watch, where people were talking, and that's part of the storyline. Like the session, Moth Martinez and the other guys, I wrote their names down, but I'm not going to look it up. But like that whole match was based around talking and like promoing back and forth and pretending to be drunk and having like, you know, that whole match was based on talking. And if you had commentary with it, it would have ruined it.
Whereas that's going to work for those two wrestlers in the ring, because that's the whole match and that's their whole personalities. Where if guys are doing a really technical match or a real high flying match, or women are doing a hardcore match or something like that, you have the announcers and you have the noise to cover them, maybe calling spots or...
Yeah, but it's so heavily edited that I feel like that's not a worry. I will say that after watching it, my least favorite match, and not because it wasn't good, it was just like more expected. And it was a good match, but the main event of the show was Jimmy Havoc versus Marty Scurll. It was great, but it wasn't as, weirdly, it wasn't as theatrical as everything else. Everything else was like over the top, and even if it was serious, it was silly, or even if it was serious, it had like more of like a I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess the Havoc and Marty Scurll match was more of a traditional wrestling match. And there were definitely moments, and like Marty's doing the chicken wing stuff, and it was still a really good match. I don't want to undercut that. But everything else had just such a different element to it that it almost was like, oh, and now a regular wrestling match, which was weird. So I look forward to watching more of it to see how they like balance that out.
I definitely look forward to watching more of this, especially because that was so early. That's their second show.
Yeah, which again was like 6 months ago or something. Like it's a new promotion.
Imagine what that's going to be like when they really, really sink into, again, we're both performers, we both run a company. You understand the process of learning what a thing is as you're doing it and as it goes along.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting what Riptide ends up being a year from now.
Though I do think they have a really strong concept and grasp of what they want to be early on.
Yeah.
To finish the match that we were talking about, Candice hit Tyler with a balls-plex and won. Because Candice.
Yes.
Also,
it was a balls-plex super kick, so yeah.
Well, it was the Sweet Tooth music
yeah.
And then the balls-plex. But also, Tyler put Candice before that in the fastest airplane I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
She's so little and he's so strong, and I was like, you guys are going to die. You're going so fast. But again, it's always nice when Candice wins because I love Candice.
Absolutely.
Anyways, check out Riptide Wrestling. You can find it on Pivot Share. It's great.
That match is on YouTube on their channel.
Oh, yeah.
Which I would say subscribe to. Just subscribe to it. And if this sounds interesting to you, look at that match. Look at a couple of other matches on there. They had like...
They have a lot of
Jimmy
stuff.
Havoc and Ginny. They had like a couple of other really interesting matches of names that you would know, and just get a feel for what they're doing aesthetically and see if that's something that interests you.
Yeah, I'll definitely link this match. I forgot that it was on YouTube. But yeah, I'll definitely link this match. Impact Wrestling. I didn't have an intro, so that was my transition.
I thought you were
Did
doing
you like
like
it?
the new... Yeah.
Impact.
Impact.
So apparently they're doing this story. They're really leaning...
We already got eye rolls, kids.
I can't decide if I love this or hate this. So ever since Sammy accidentally broke Eddie's face, they've really turned that horrific accident into a storyline and have really pushed Eddie's like break with it and Sammy's like villainy, and they keep pushing it. And so they had Sammy Callahan attack the Booker man Don Callis at Destiny Wrestling, and then through half of the show, like the Impact board was determining Sammy's like what's going to happen with this contract until Eddie came in and was like, no, I almost lost my eye for you motherfuckers. You're not going to fire him because I want him, which is fine, whatever. I want him. It's weird to say this, but I feel like this almost blurs the line too much for me as a fan. I think as somebody who can appreciate the marketing and like turning shit into gold, like I think they are doing a really good job with it. And I know there is a certain set of fans that really enjoy it, but like it's too much for me and I'm not into it personally.
It's always great to know where that line is. Like growing up watching the Attitude Era, which everyone hails or whatever, but I see it for its pluses and minuses. But the whole that whole angle that gets referenced again and again with Stone Cold and Brian Pillman, where like Brian Pillman has a gun or whatever. I remember that being horrific to me as a kid.
Yeah.
I remember that being too much. So much that it takes me out.
Yeah, the Sami Callihan stuff is too much for me, I've decided.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy what Eddie's doing, but it's just too much. But I do appreciate what they're doing, and I think that they are doing a good job with it. It's just not my cuppa.
Something Eddie Edwards is doing you care about.
Which is like
a fucking success.
Night and day. So I'm skipping ahead, but although Eli Drake lost his cash-in of the Feast and Fire briefcase on Penta, it's clear that they're still trying to make Eli Drake a focal point and a top guy. Like, they did a whole video package about him, how he's great. They had they're setting up some tension between him and Scott Steiner, so that'll be interesting. And then we also know
team wasn't gonna
for
last.
sure.
Yeah.
Scott Steiner said something unfortunate about like freaks in his bed, which was like not great, and
that's been Steiner's thing since 20
I know,
years ago.
but he also did it to the woman who was interviewing him, and she looked actually uncomfortable. So that was not fun for me.
I know, but I also like that they put that on TV, though, because that's commentary on his character and who he is, right?
I guess. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know my old-timey wrestling. I don't like it.
That's
Anyways,
fine.
but I still like that he's losing, and obviously Penta's going to go up against Austin at some point. I think this week it's a tag team match with Penta and Phantasma and Austin Aries and Matt Sydal, because Phantasma is the number one contender after a match last week for the X Division. So that makes sense. But eventually, like, Austin is going to face Penta, and I think that's the right move. But I like that they still try and keep the focus on Eli, because he busts ass and is doing such a good job.
I think they're really trying to give screen time to and give weight to the guys who've stuck with Impact through this transition.
Which they should.
I fucking love that they're doing that.
Absolutely should.
Yeah.
There was a tag team match with LAX versus DJZ and Andrew Everett, who I guess they're moving more into the tag team and away from X Division. Obviously, they can do both, but I like them together as a team. They're really good together. I want to say something about Andrew Everett. The first time I saw him, I appreciated his ability to fly, but I always thought that it was like a little reckless and sloppy. And when I would see him live, I'd be like, this can go two ways. Like, I appreciate that you're pushing yourself and you obviously are talented, but it is almost like it takes me out of it almost. And I would think that on Impact sometimes. I think he's gotten so much better over the past like year and a half that I've watched him. And I just really appreciate when you can see growth in performers. And he is somebody that I have seen growth in. Obviously, he's been talented and he's fearless and tries new stuff. But this match in particular, I was like, oh, there's a lot of growth here. And I like that.
I remember the first time I saw him was actually the first time I saw him and Trevor Lee. It was the same match the three of them had with Cedric Alexander in PWG.
Ah, that sounds great.
It's as good as it sounds. It is a ridiculous match. It's an amazing match. Trevor went on to be a big name in PWG. Cedric went on to that, I think, really, really soon after that. Andrew Everett got injured.
Okay.
Pretty seriously.
That makes sense to see
where he was gone for a while. And so if he feels like a little bit behind Trevor Lee or all of that, I think that's kind of why. But it's really great to see talent develop through that. And maybe even because of that, he got to take a step back.
Yeah. I know it will be ruined eventually, but I am really finally getting to enjoy LAX because they're not in a weird feud with OVE. They're not in a weird semi-racist feud with Trevor Lee and Caleb Connolly. They don't have anything to do with Conan right now because he's been kidnapped or whatever.
We know that X thing isn't Eddie Kingston. It's actually like suicide, probably.
It's definitely suicide because in their throwback match, they showed a suicide match. Like, it's definitely
Remember
suicide.
who this guy is?
Yeah, remember this? But I'm finally getting to enjoy LAX as wrestlers, and they're really good.
Yeah,
they're fun to watch, especially with a team like DJZ and Andrew Everett, who are so high-flying and so fast. Like, LAX is fast and has high-flying moves, but does them in a more grounded way, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that juxtaposition was nice. So I know that it won't last forever, but I'm excited that I get to enjoy them while I get to enjoy them. Grado has a new girlfriend. Her name's Katrina. I guess she was Winter in TNA before, and she also was in some weird incest angle in WWE.
Yeah.
This is my dark ages, so I don't know. It's a pretty tired trope of, like, Grado has a hot girlfriend because Grado's Grado, and now he has a hot girlfriend. But she genuinely seems to like him, and they did like a fun like Titanic thing on the corner of the ring, and like whatever.
She is Burchell's a very talented wrestler, so I can't wait for them to put her in the ring, which I hope this is what this is building to. She was Katie Lee Burchell when she was paired with Paul Burchell, who was that pirate for a while. Again, Dark Ages.
Yes,
and it's a Dark Ages for a reason. It wasn't good. But she is also very talented, so I was excited to see her pop up there, and I hope they give her ring time, because she'll do great.
I assume that she will get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do love, there was a funny moment where Joseph was like, I don't think you have a girlfriend, Grado. I think you're lying. And Grado was like, no, she's a professional dog walker. She'll be here soon. She's walking dogs. That's why she's late. And then she showed up and is in like a halter top and like tight jeans and is like not in a dog walking outfit. And it was just like a funny, weird throwaway line like, no. She's just busy. She's a career woman. She's a dog walker.
You gotta think how much they're writing for Grado and how much they're just giving Grado.
I think it's a lot of Grado just doing whatever he wants.
I really hope it is. It's so good.
Grado won against Reggie, which makes no sense because Reggie's a good wrestler. It's Grado, but like also whatever. It's Grado. I love him. Who cares? But then Joseph Park was the one that was taken out by the Suicide Acts, and Grado did some A+ acting. He was like screaming like, get some help, and was like holding Joseph like, go for it, Grado. I'm into it.
I mean, this whole time, like, Grado's been a wrestling fan his whole life.
He's the best.
And he's loved not only like the in-ring performers, but the personalities and the soap opera aspect of it. So he understands all of that.
Yeah.
So it's really great to see him get to be able to do that shit.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
There was a number 1 contendership match, like I mentioned before. It was Drago, Aerostar, Ishimori, and Phantasma. Phantasma won, so he's the number 1 contender for the X Division Championship. I really like Phantasma. I don't necessarily like him as Phantasma. I like him as King Cuerno, but I still like him as a wrestler. So.
I like that it's him behind the mask and he's getting able to do shit. Yeah.
Right. So that's fun. And I think that will be a really good match because he is a great wrestler and has a high flying, but is a very different style than Matt Sydal. So I think that could be really good. There was like a really dumb pre-recorded segment with KM and Falaba where KM was like trying to train Falaba while eating ice cream, and it was stupid and it's so old school and it doesn't work, but also like it's harmless, so I don't care.
Yeah.
It could be so much worse. It was like a bullfit type thing, which is also like a parody, and then you use like the 80s like workout song and like whatever. I like Falaba. It wasn't like that offensive to me, so like whatever.
They're running that line of making Fala too comical, so where he's not as much of a threat in the ring anymore.
But he always kind of was comical.
He always kind of was comical.
Even when he was like wrestling EC3 and stuff, like, They did show a Pro Wrestling Noah match. It was Cage versus Takahashi Sugiura. Mm-hmm. I did it.
Yeah, you did.
I did it. Okay.
Yep.
It was fun. It was like, obviously, it was one of those things where it's like, fun is not the right word. It was interesting. Obviously, I don't watch a lot of Pro Wrestling Noah. I knew Cage was going to win, but I had never seen this wrestler before, so it's always fun to see a new wrestler. I did appreciate that. They also showed a House of Hardcore match with Moose and Congo Kong. It was what it was.
It's a match between Moose and Congo Kong.
Right.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that Moose was definitely going to win, and Jimmy interfered with a chair and then, like, separated them, and, like, that storyline is going further. Honestly, that match is worth watching just to watch Jimmy Jacobs do stuff outside the ring. Like,
just to watch Jimmy Jacobs do anything.
Like, his leaning and his, like, interacting. Like, Jimmy Jacobs is great. I do like Moose. I just can't really get behind this. I like him live. He's one of those performers I really enjoy live, and I don't love watching him on Impact. But I want him to have, like, a fine career or whatever.
I miss Veda. I miss Veda with him. I miss
Veda's
Veda
the
leading
best.
him out to the ring. I miss Veda pumping her fist and saying Moose. I think he probably needs a really good manager.
Yeah.
As a character.
The last thing that happened that was important, they did, like... So... the final deletion came out of Impact, and they did all this weird Rosemary stuff that didn't work because it was Bram, but, like, they still did more of, like, a cinematic thing. They did this cinematic package with Allie, where Allie was looking in the mirror and was really upset and was, like, replaying the, like, Su Yung takes out Rosemary bit, and she's, like, not crying, not mad, but she's just, like, looking concerned. And then she gets a knock at the door, and then there's this, like, little voodoo doll there outside with, like, a pin on it, and she unrolls the letter. We don't get to see what it says, but then she starts like twitching like Su Yung, very specifically like Su Yung, not like crazy
great
twitch.
Physical work.
So, it was so clear that it was Su Yung. Yes. Props to Allie, because it wasn't just like, oh, I'm doing the quote crazy twitch. Like, it was a Su Yung twitch. That was like great. I'm very interested. And then, like, it makes sense why Rosemary was like, I don't want you to go out there. It was less like, you're going to ruin it, and more like, you are gullible and
you don't understand.
Yeah, you don't understand.
The force is at play here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really great.
And again, like, that's props to Allie. That's props to Cherry. She's done so much with her character.
She really has. Well, even in Impact, like, she came in as Maria Kanellis' like annoying assistant, and, like, has had like this full thing. So that is interesting. And that's a way to bring Su Yung back into the title picture after she had like failed in the title picture. I feel like it's always weird to talk about NXT because like I'm talking about one that happened last week, but I also still like to talk about it. Like I thought that the Ricochet, them chanting about his socks was funny and how he dealt with it.
Yep.
But I also am really hyped for Ricochet Dream. I think that sounds great.
That segment between the two of them kind of put it over for me.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Like how Dream went to hit Ricochet, then Ricochet went to fight back, and then Dream just like fell to his knees and does that like Dream mind game stuff. Like that was great. I really enjoyed that.
Yes.
I like Dream. I can't believe it works. Remember when we all hated him? EC3 had a match with Raul Mendoza. It was EC3's first like NXT match. Not in like a takeover or whatever. Obviously he won, but it was, I love EC3 so much.
Yep.
And I love that the crowd loves him, and I love that he's so hyped for himself. I saw somebody tweet, I can't remember who it was, but they said, get you someone who loves you as much as like EC3 loves himself. Like, yeah, absolutely.
I also love how...
I'm going to win, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to win.
Victory after victory after victory
Well, he's just spitting in her face.
I also love how even the playing the playing ground of NXT is because commentary was putting Raul Mendoza over really hard during this match, and it was still a competitive match, whereas this could have easily just been a squash match for EC3.
I thought commentary did a really good job this week. I am one of those people that tends to love Mauro. Like, I know some people think it's too much. I don't. I love it.
As well, yeah.
But especially when you think about what they did with the Ciampa Cassius match, like commentary was perfect for that. Like, you need everyone, even the impartial journalist commentator, quote unquote, to hate Ciampa. And they did such a good job because there was like a fight where like Mauro at the beginning was like trying to be,
it's
impartial.
a sporting competition, especially with someone like Mauro who legitimately commentates
real sports.
I was going to say sporting competitions
sports.
Elsewhere and more competitive sports, but yes. Now that I know wrestling is fake.
I also thought they did a really good job with Heavy Machinery and War Raiders. Like, the commentary is good, but also I really enjoyed this match. I knew that Heavy Machinery was going to lose, which is sad because I really like Otis Dojovic, the other guy, whatever. Don't wear a headband that says Big Tuck. Hello.
Unless you're doing a drag number.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't wear a headband that says Big Tuck.
Don't wear a headband that says Big Tuck.
But it is interesting to see 4 big guys who can move in a specific way. And it was cool when Otis Dojovic picked up one of the War Raiders and fully suplexed them. That's cool. I like watching big dudes throw each other around. I love that.
It's professional goddamn wrestling.
Professional goddamn wrestling. I did think that it was weird that the Street Profits video was not about TM61 at all. It was just about the tag titles. I thought that they were going to call out TM61. I do like TM61 as shitty little heels. Not explicitly bad guys, but we got screwed over, so now we're taking what's ours type thing. I think that works for them because I really do like TM61. All of those video packages that they did a couple months ago when they came back, I was like, I'm all in on these weirdos.
Absolutely. Yeah, it seemed a little best friendsy, but it worked for me. And it did seem like a misstep that they were just completely unmentioned in the Street Profits thing.
Yeah.
I think maybe they were trying to do a lot of division building like they did with the women a couple weeks ago. But what they were missing there was I'm coming for the title. I'm coming for the title. But they need...
Well, they were talking about the
keep
title.
that rivalry going.
Right. They were talking about the title. They just weren't talking about the rivalry, which was dumb.
Yeah.
Speaking about the title... I love everything they're doing with Dakota Kai and Shayna. I love that Dakota, anyone else is yeah, I'm going to kick your face off, whatever. But she has this weird PTSD with Shayna. And it's she, when Shayna was choking out Vanessa Bourne, it's clear that Dakota wanted to help because she is a good guy, but just couldn't. And so when we eventually get her overcoming this PTSD or whatever, it'll be so satisfying.
You mentioned PTSD and trauma in general is something historically WWE has been fucking horrific about dealing with. Like, they've done everything wrong. But Dakota is so good facially and expressively and so good in the ring. They don't have, like, commentary doesn't have to have a buzzword for trauma or PTSD or, you know, whatever. Like, none of that has to be
say, like, she's in
explicitly
shock.
said.
Yeah.
And it's still evoking those thoughts and those words and that level of hurt and trauma.
Well, I like that they did the post-match interview where the interviewer was like, it seems like you froze. Like, what's going on? And Dakota was like, genuinely like, I don't know. I don't know why that happens. I cannot control it. Like, that sold it to her. And then when Shayna came around the corner and she just froze again, like, it's clear that she wants to fight through it. And then Nikki Cross just laughing at everything in the corner like a weirdo.
But that's what Nikki should be doing.
Yeah. I don't even necessarily want Nikki to fight Dakota or Shayna. I just want her to be there laughing at them.
I am fine with Nikki Cross being an element of chaos throughout NXT before they find a place to point her.
We did talk about it a little bit before, but that Ciampa Cassius match was probably the best match that Cassius has had since coming back to NXT.
It's the most he's mattered.
Yeah.
He's gonna have good matches whenever he's in the ring, but he needs to matter in order for him to gain traction anyway, one way or another. And that's the most he's mattered. That's the most he's been involved in a storyline that wasn't a straight up physical feud in NXT since before he left and came back.
That's a good point. The mattering point makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about Raw, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. So, Kurt,
London, I love you so.
It's just Roman coming out, being Roman, and then Kurt came out, and then Roman was like, I'm gonna do what I have to do.
And then he was just like, Jinder, you ain't shit. And in my head, I went, didn't Jinder Mahal have the belt for like a really long time?
An uncomfortably long time, to be honest.
But Roman saying, like, just completely looking over that just makes Roman look dumb.
Yeah, I feel bad for Roman Reigns at this point, to be honest.
This shit's crazy with him.
They've, like, dug themselves a hole that they can't get out of.
So we're talking about ways that you can get taken out of a performance or a product earlier, and this is definitely one of them. Any segment involving him, the audience is just too loud in a way that seems so counter to everything that they're trying to do with the character that it just seems farcical that they're ignoring it at this point.
And to put him in a feud with Jinder, it's like, well, I guess people don't like Jinder, so I guess maybe they'll like Roman if we put him with Jinder. Oh no, you just hate them both?
No, you're gonna cheer Jinder Mahal. So later on in the show and that feud or whatever, like, it's Jinder getting his bruises, getting his ribs wrapped up. Oh, because this ends SmackDown, I guess that's what we do with our top baby faces. Whenever they see opposition now, they just go out and fucking injure people. Because that's what Daniel Bryan did this week as well. But Jinder saying, like, no, I will overcome, and I will compete, and I will do that. I believed that more out of Jinder fucking Mahal than I ever did out of Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Jinder was almost like the good guy.
Almost.
Yeah, the booking is so strange. Like, it's just bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
I did love the Seth Rollins Open Challenge having it be Kevin Owens.
I love everything that they're doing with Seth Rollins Open Championship.
Yeah.
And
I also love the bookend of Kevin Owens losing this and then pulling strings with Stephanie and then coming back at the end and then with the help of Sammy getting the match. Like, it's a good storyline. Kevin's somebody who can wrestle twice. People love him. It helped Sammy be a heel. Seth still looked really good. They got into Kurt's face, so then you also get the tension with Stephanie and Kurt, and you get Kevin Owens in the ladder match. Like, that was like a damn near fucking perfect segment.
They also mentioned it a couple of times during the Seth match about him being a fighting champion and him calling out Brock Lesnar for not being a fighting champion.
So I feel like everybody is calling out Brock Lesnar for not being a fighting champion, but still, yes.
But I think Seth has the most of a claim there because he has the secondary belt, and he's the one that's most visibly successful.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So we got all of this stuff with the NBC upfronts where Charlotte was teaching Ronda to woo, and then Nia challenged her to a match. I feel like that sucks, right? Like, I feel like both the women's matches are going to end in a title switch. They have to, right? It's Nia versus Ronda and Charlotte, and it's Nia versus Ronda and Carmella versus Asuka.
I can see how you would think that, but I can also see them building the story about how Ronda's not ready to do it on her own yet. So we'll see what they go with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I did watch the video from Ronda's house show match, and it actually looked pretty good. I think Ronda is doing okay in the ring. It's just like, and I did like the idea that Nia called her out. Like, Nia's the one that chose to do it, obviously, like the writers did. But like that visually looked good. Like Nia being like, I like to rest barely Alexa Bliss. But if Alexa Bliss can almost beat Nia, like what hope is there that Ronda will lose?
Her calling out Nia fixes a little bit.
Nia calling out Ronda.
I'm sorry, yeah. Nia calling out Ronda fixes a little bit of what we were talking about. We had problematic-wise with Nia in her feud with Bliss during Backlash, where like Nia should just be bulldozing through competition, and she should be taking on people. She should be more confident. She's not a defensive force. Nia is pummeling. Nia is powerful. Nia should be powerful in every aspect of her character. And so her, like, being like, oh, everyone's talking about Ronda Rousey. Yeah, no, you and me, we're doing this right now so that I don't have to hear about you anymore. I like that a lot. I hope they just keep the belt on Nia in this, even though, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably not going to swing that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess.
But then it's way too early for the. Everything in my being says it's way too early for them to put a belt on Ronda.
But I guess if you have the belt on Ronda, and then you have Charlotte, who was on SmackDown, never mind. I don't know, dude.
If you're building up between the two of them again. Like, again, it's the Wild West. The women's booking right now.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
Is really nuts and really open.
In a good way and a bad way.
Yeah.
Obviously,
in a good way, and anything not having to do with Ronda Rousey. I'll just say that.
Obviously, Carmella could retain with some shenanigans. Like, that seems very Carmella, you know.
Carmella could call in Absolution to help her out.
Or
Carmella
the Iconics.
Could call in the Iconics. Carmella could do anything.
Carmella could just, like, walk out of the ring and do, like, a count out. Carmella can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Like, that would make sense. It would suck. And it would also be, like, 2 Money in the Banks in a row that Carmella has, like, done some Healy bullshit. But
it
also,
doesn't
like,
seem like it's a match that should happen on a pay-per-view, but that doesn't necessarily matter to WWE anymore, so.
But it should happen on pay-per-view. She's a champion. It just doesn't. Weirdly, it just doesn't seem like she should be champion, which is the whole point.
Yeah. And they're going to have to keep the belt on her for longer in order for that point to come across more.
Yeah, but also if you have Asuka get the belt and then like Becky or Charlotte get the briefcase, like that also is a cool possibility. I don't know, there is a lot of weird possibilities for the women's division.
Again, an open playing field, like I was talking about in NXT, which can make for some exciting stuff. I want to see so much more of Sonya Deville in the ring. Yeah. I love the way she moves.
She did great. I also love that stark lighting on her entrance.
Uh-huh.
That was a fun match.
Yeah, that was a really fun match. I like how much she focuses physically on a low center of gravity. Everything she does is sharp and quick. I think she is right now more than even probably I'd say Shayna, the best combination of a pro wrestling style and an MMA style that the WWE has right now. And I want them to do so much more with her.
I remember really getting over on her when her and Ruby were doing that feud in NXT. Like, those matches were really good and made them both look great. And then they like just finished them and went up to the main roster and had these other things. So I feel like people almost forget about it because it was happening kind of during the transition. But like the Sonya Ruby stuff was fucking really good. Sonya's
so quick and her kicks look brutal. I would like to see her in the ring one-on-one with Asuka. I would like to see her pretty much with everyone. Like, really, really great. We know, like, with everything they're doing with Mandy Rose right now, we know what they're going to do with her.
Right, but
she's always going to be good in the ring.
It also is working.
And it's all working, especially because Corey Graves is putting it over so hard. But it's all working, but they're not putting that shine on Sonya, and I want them to put her over as someone dangerous, because I think she is. I think she can be that force.
Even though they fed her to Ronda.
Even though they fed her.
But they're on different things, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. Can we talk about the B team?
Yes! Yes! And I'm sorry, like, oh god, I'm sorry, Breezango, and I will always love you. I will always love the Fashion Police, but I'm happy the B team got a win here.
Me too. And the Breezango has gotten a couple wins the past couple weeks, so it's like, whatever. I love the line where they're like, we're going to call ourselves the A team. And Kurt was like, no, that's a trademark. You can't do that. We're going to call ourselves the B team. That's really dumb. No. B stands for best. And then they made their shirts. It was so good.
I am so in on these two guys fluctuating between viable threats and fucking jobbers. They're going to succeed because they're so malleable and because they've made everything they've been given as performers fucking work.
So good.
Yeah.
And the match was fun. Like, I love watching Breezango wrestle. I love watching the B team. I wrote yay, but also like, no, what am I supposed to be feeling? I love both these teams.
It's going to be really interesting what they do with the two of them, because they could do everything from comedic to serious.
For sure. I just don't. Why didn't we just give Bobby Roode the qualifier? Like, why did we have to have this No Way Jose Baron Corbin match? I gotta tell you, I liked No Way Jose in NXT, and I hate him on the main roster. Full stop, hate him. That conga line doesn't do shit. It's awkward. It's not gonna work, and it's just like, okay, so now you're just a filler until they push you to main event and you get chopped. I
know this is a meme, or this is something that's said by a lot of people who commentate on wrestling nowadays, but No Way Jose got moved up a little quick in my mind.
Yeah, he seems like somebody that they moved up because they didn't know what else to do with him in NXT, but they didn't have a clear path for him on the main roster either, and it doesn't work. Adding the conga line took anything away from it.
Yep.
It was better when it was a one-man dance party, and it was better when you would break out the conga line as like a special thing with like audience members, not just like fucking rejects from that other dumb party.
Yeah. And from what I've seen of him, he's good in the ring. Like, he's not awful, but you don't care about him in the ring.
Not at all. I think that I could be mistaken because I obviously don't know, but it feels like some kind of brass was like, well, Elias wasn't working in NXT, but like he is like a fun musical gimmick, but he's working here. I bet you we could do it with No Way Jose. Psych!
Yeah, that's just, you're right. It was clear that, I mean, it wasn't clear, maybe because I've been watching this product so much for the last month or so because of this podcast, but it wasn't clear to me who was coming out on top of this. But Roode is, across the board, the right decision to be in that match.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin doesn't need the money in bank again, and he squandered it last time. No Way Jose definitely doesn't need it. Though maybe he does need it. He probably would do well, like, having a match where he spotlighted doing crazy flips and stuff. But, like, also, is he ready for that? And also, people love Bobby Roode. You know who loves Bobby Roode? Nick. Nick loves Bobby Roode. He just thinks Bobby Roode, he's like, total package. I fucking love this guy. Like, it's the best.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
Also, Bobby Roode is like 44 and looks amazing. And is so great in the ring.
Everything Bobby Roode, like, again, that is a success story in my heart still. Of just, you know, that dude worked his ass off and he's been that character and he got that over. He was enhancement talent for WWE like 10 years ago or whatever and fucking made it.
Team Canada.
Team Canada.
Right.
Except for Teddy Hart. You're fucking weird.
Yeah, fuck that guy. How dare you abuse cats? And also, like, don't sexually assault people. Also, he sucks. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, but he's a Hart. All the Harts are good wrestlers. No, I'm sorry. Teddy Hart is not a good wrestler.
Even when he was at his heyday with all of the controversy or whatever in Ring of Honor back in the day, Teddy Hart's never impressed me in the ring.
Yeah.
It's just fucking...
Not a fan.
Not a fan. Sorry to divert conversation to talk about Teddy Hart. Let's go past that.
Riot Squad versus Sasha, Ember, and Natty. It is weird how they just moved Natty, turned her face, moved Paige, turned her face, didn't mention it at all. That scene with Absolution and her and Paige was weird because there was no development. It was just boom, boom. And I feel the same way about Natty. It's just like there should have been some kind of transition from evil guy to good guy. And it was just like, well, I'm on the blue team now, so I'm good. I'm on the red team now, so I'm bad.
I want the thing with Paige and Absolution to have a payoff indefinitely where her and Mandy, Mandy or Sonya get a big opportunity, or eventually they get the belt and it comes around and Paige is just like, I knew you could do it and that's why I pushed you, or something like that. But
or we get like a Kevin and Sammy versus Shane deal with them. But
if that never happens between them, it's too quick and it makes no sense.
And the Natty thing is just like, well, I'm here and Rhonda's my friend and Rhonda's a good guy, so I'm a good guy now.
Doesn't work. Too quick.
So, I've been feeling this way for a while. I hate the Meteora because 95% of the time it looks like trash. And I will say this again and again. I always appreciate that Sasha is trying new things and she works really hard. And I do love Sasha. And everyone has like moments. All the guys have it too in the ring where shit doesn't work. But like the Meteora, I feel like never works.
Do you think, and this is going to cause me to send clips to you, the Meteora is very similar to the top rope double stomp in a lot of ways, as far as execution and selling goes, where like you say you hate the Meteora, I want to send you matches with Shima from Dragon Gate, who that's his finisher.
Send those to me.
And it's amazing when he does it.
When she hits it, when it lands, it looks great. Like she did one later on where she did a Meteora off the apron onto the ground, onto somebody, I don't remember who, and it looked great. But like, I feel like most of the time it doesn't, so it takes the impact away.
Yeah, that's the same way you talk about the coup de grace, which is why it draws.
Well, also the coup de grace just sucks. Period. Full stop. I hate that move. It's my least favorite move in wrestling, maybe.
In all of wrestling?
I don't know. I fucking hate it. I think it looks so bad.
That's a high bar. Cool. We'll let that stay there.
I just... I want to like Finn Balor and I just don't. And that's the thing. Everyone loves him. I just want to like him and I don't. I think he's weird looking. I think the demon thing doesn't work. I think that his wrestling is good, but like there are people who do it better. And the coup de grace sucks. I do like that he's for inclusivity and stuff. And I like that he likes Lego and is like a nerd, but also like,
They're not doing what they can with Finn, and that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, but even when they were doing everything that they could with him in NXT, I was always like, yeah, I like him because I'm supposed to like him.
Oh, yeah, then that's not everything that they could with him. Finn was Finn, and Finn is Finn right now because
and I don't have any connection to Prince Devitt.
Exactly.
So I only know Finn.
Yeah, and I was watching New Japan when Finn made the fucking Bullet Club.
Right,
but also when he was in Apollo 99 with Taguchi, like, he was doing a lot more than he is now. I think they'll get there eventually, but...
I mean, they got there with Shinsuke, so...
Yeah. They're so there with Shinsuke, holy shit.
I love Liv Morgan.
Yes.
I don't know why. Everything she did this week, I just love her. I love the blue tongue. I love that she's like the ditzy's not the right word, the like fun, like silly one that's like, but is also like almost meaner than the other two. Her wrestling has been pretty good lately. She almost fucking pinned Natty. Like,
the Riot Squad's like the full-on after-school special for a heel team.
Yeah.
They have everything. I know that Sarah Logan hasn't come into her own as Sarah Logan yet. But I think she
really is starting to.
Gonna. And between her and Ruby and Liv, they have everything. They are the New Day in my heart of the women's division, but like on the heel side.
Right. I mean, New Day were great heels for a while.
Yeah.
I think that when Absolution and the Riot Squad first started, people were like, well, the Riot Squad is just like a weird copy of Absolution. A, because Absolution came first because it was Raw and then SmackDown, but because people knew Paige and Mandy a little bit more. But Riot Squad has been better since the beginning, and especially now that they're the only one, like, that's great. And that's, I mean, the breakup of Absolution, like, obviously it's not good that Paige can't wrestle and had to become the GM and all this stuff, like, that is not good. But the breakup of Absolution makes the Riot Squad look even better.
And they're making themselves look really good as well. So I want to see more of Liv in the ring.
Right. Yeah. Also, like, Ember looked great because Ember always looks great.
Yes.
Nick also loves Ember. Nick loves Ember and Bobby Roode. Drew
What else?
McIntyre.
Oh, yeah, another big wrestling is fake thing in the ring. Oh, Braun Strowman's the 7-foot monster. No one's bigger than him. Drew McIntyre stood fucking eye to eye with Braun Strowman.
They talked about that too. And I know that Drew got knocked out by him, or like outside the ring or whatever.
The same shoulder tackle thing that he's been doing now. Right. Yeah.
But there is definitely a possibility in a future where Drew can call out Braun, because Drew is just as tall and is thick in a muscular way. Like, Braun is muscular, but also has the, like, big guy aspect to it. But Drew is just, like, pure, like, sexy thigh meat.
This whole time, through the feud with Roman Reigns or whatever, they're like, Braun Strowman is the biggest meat boy, and this is our big old strong meat boy. But then the vibe in the ring when Drew was standing eye to eye with him was so much more different than anyone else in the ring with Braun Strowman.
Yeah, that kind of, like, that part, even though it was only, like, momentary and they, like, kind of glanced through it.
But
like,
Drew did great with it.
That part made me a little excited for the future, because that is shit that I want to see.
Yep.
That is definitely shit that I want to see. Dolph won, right? Dolph pinned.
Yeah, Dolph pinned Finn.
I want to be mad about it, but that benefits Drew, and also I don't care about Finn.
But it kind of broke the rhythm of the team they have been in the future, because in the past, like, you know, Drew was only getting in the ring for the finish. Yeah. And this was a little bit more chaotic than that, which kind of puts Finn and Braun over in a way. Like, you know, Drew and Dolph had to try a little harder this week. And the finish was a lot muddier. They didn't do the Claymore zigzag finish. Because
it was just Dolph pinning Finn, because Braun and
on the sly, like with a roll up, it was just Dolph pinning Finn. Yeah.
Speaking of terrible tag team finishers, the Kiss of Deletion looks bad.
Yeah. I don't think they need a tag team finisher.
Also,
I don't.
Poor Revival.
Yeah. Oh, perpetually poor Revival. I mean, you look at what they were doing in NXT a fucking year ago, and it's just...
Even when they showed up, like, those injuries fucked them over hard.
Yeah. I hope they kind of weather the storm and can come back when they need a good tag team feud. They need their Usos. They need their New Day. They need somebody to elevate them.
Sammy calling out Bobby Lashley for stealing his hat was amazing.
Sammy's biggest heel move this week was making me watch that horrible, uncomfortable Bobby Lashley promo again.
Do you see the hat?
So good.
My hat?
So he did that, but then he was like, but that's not all it is. That's what you people think it is, but that's not all it is.
And then he came out with that haluva kick and helped his buddy qualify. I loved it.
It's advancing because everyone knows Kevin and Sammy can exist separately and together. It's advancing multiple storylines at once, which doesn't fucking happen in the WWE ever, and that's why I kind of love it.
And it's with Kevin and Sammy, people that we love.
Yes.
And who deserve all of the best things. Alexa, Bayley, and Mickey had a qualifying match. I hated this match. And I really hated that Alexa won. Mm-hmm. I don't think Alexa was the right person to win, and I don't think that she should be in the ladder match. I really don't. I think Mickey or Bayley should have been in it. I really do not think that Alexa should be in the ladder match. I'm bummed about it.
Imagine Bayley getting not the win, but getting the adoration and getting the spots like, say, Seth Rollins did in that Iron Man match, where he didn't win it, but he still tried really hard, and he was still in the match, and he still mattered for that long in that
card. Bayley needs shit like that.
And
Alexa had the belt for so fucking long, and also almost beat Nia inexplicably. Like, Alexa doesn't need shit right now. Alexa had such a long title run. Alexa needs to move to the mid-card for a little bit, and the fact that she qualified pissed me off. It should have been fucking Bayley.
Yep.
And I don't know if they're, like, saving it because Sasha and Bayley and blah, blah, blah. That's fine, but, like, you can do other shit with them while you build to that. And, like, you know, they had that thing in the hallway where Sasha was like, oh, good luck, I mean it, whatever, and that was nice, and whatever. Alexa should have won, and I'm pissed about it.
It's a wasted spot in that match.
Especially that after her almost beating Nia. That is so upsetting.
Yeah.
So upsetting. Ah! Ugh. Just gonna think about Drew and his thighs for a second to calm down.
I'm gonna do that too, though.
Oh, speaking of other stuff that sucks, is Cass.
Oh, big ass. So now we're moving to SmackDown. Holy diver.
I saw somebody have a tweet because Cass was like, well, we all know Brie wears the pants in this. And somebody was like, imagine having the nerve to come out here and call out Daniel Bryan for Brie wearing the pants when your ex-girlfriend is wearing the title belt and you're just here. And I was like, yes.
Really?
Daniel took him out with ease.
Really weird segment where your underdog character, like we were talking about with Roman Reigns and Raw, goes hard and goes to fucking injure the dude that is his pretty much nagging opposition. Like, Cass is supposed to be this bully character, right? Daniel Bryan went deep in on it in a way that delegitimizes Big Cass in a fucking huge way.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do with Big Cass after that.
Hopefully nothing.
Hopefully nothing at all.
That's terrible, but it's true.
Oh, here's one of the notes that I wanted to read out loud that I read during that. Oh, also, in big caps, Daniel Bryan wants to be on top, I think is something that he said. And then I said, get it, Brie, in parentheses. But, why is Big Cass not a bludgeon brother, but Luke Harper has to be?
Yeah, they should just switch them out.
Switch them out.
Also, the Bludgeon Brothers are stupid. That video
the Bludgeon
package
Brothers
is
are fucking
so
stupid, but so is Big Cass. But, like, Luke Harper is better than the Bludgeon Brothers, and Big Cass isn't.
That video package with the Bludgeon Brothers is
Everything
dumb.
they've been doing with them off camera
They
is
need to
fucking
be bludgeoned.
dumb. Those are, if you're pushing a demolition style tag
Wait,
team,
they have the belts right now.
yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If you're pushing like a monster fucking demolition style tag team, you get those guys in the ring with a couple of local jobbers or someone else, and you have them fucking crush them in the ring. You don't do these weird vignettes with action figures.
That was so uncomfortable.
And shitty foam hammers and shit like that. Why don't you have your champions in the ring fucking crushing people if that's what you want to be doing with them? It makes zero sense.
It makes zero sense and is super trash.
Yes.
Super trash. You know, it's not trash. Miz and the New Day and the Bar. All my faves in one segment.
So here's the really interesting thing about this match to me. And the really interesting thing
that Miz was like slobbing on everybody's knob?
Absolutely the point I'm getting towards. Miz is a different type of heel than the WWE has had in a long time. He's putting over Cesaro as a talent. He's putting over Xavier Woods as a talent so much, but then he's like, oh, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because the person who comes in this match is the person that I'm just going to beat. It's really interesting to me, and it's really exciting to me.
I also thought it was interesting that they were trying to sow the seeds of a New Day breakup because
commentary was, but I don't think that's real.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so either. I think it was just an easy thing for them to say because I have a feeling that this is how I like it to play out. Well, they're having a segment where they're trying to pick who is going to do it, and then it's Xavier and Biggie, and they're like talking, and then they're like, Kofi, you should do it because we love you. And then I want Kofi to be like, you guys, I love that you love me so much, but I think this is Xavier's time to shine, and they give it to Xavier. You can't break up the New Day. Honestly, the moment you break up the New Day, I stop watching wrestling and Kofi retires.
You can't break up the New Day. They've been doing a fantastic job, more than they've ever done on television before, possibly, of giving Xavier time in the ring. He has
looked so good.
And legitimizing him as a threat. When he pinned
Cesaro and he was like, come it, baby, but was like in a like fun way. I don't know. He's the best. I love him.
So I hope they don't announce it at all. I hope they don't announce it all the way up to them entering for the pay-per-view. The New Day music plays. They all come out. They throw the pancakes, do whatever. The three of them stand up on the ring, and it could be any one of them. A testament to the New Day. It could be any one of them, and I'll be like, oh shit, it's blank. And the match is going to change, and my excitement for the match is going to alter, but not lessen at all. That Money in the Bank match with Big E is exciting. That Money in the Bank match with Kofi is exciting. That Money in the Bank match with Xavier is exciting. That's ridiculous for a faction. All of them are so good and so marketed as in-ring threats right now. That doesn't happen in the WWE. It's amazing.
I do think that they should have a segment, though, because they're so good at segments. If it was a different tag team, I could see just having it be a surprise. But their whole thing is that they're fucking hilarious. And they do. Like, they were born in backstage segments on, like, the WWE.com channel. Like, they are good at that stuff. They made an 11-minute video about peck meat that I watched 3 times.
3 times, yes.
Like, they are good at that stuff. So I think that they could do something clever. Or if it's them, like, pulling pancakes, like, who pulls the short stack. I don't know. They're crazy.
If it's them, like, somehow, it's like a pancake flip-off. I don't fucking know. Whatever they're doing. Oh my god, them pouring an imaginary box of Bootios on that British kid was fucking hilarious.
I love it all.
I love it all. And the bar looked great in this match, too. I know they've been taking
what
losses.
is going on with Sheamus? I
know
thought he was
no
going to
one
die
knows
if he
what's
wrestled.
going on with Sheamus right now.
I mean, I want him to wrestle. I love him, but I also want him to live because I love him.
Miz and Corey putting Cesaro over hard in commentary does my heart so well. And the bar are still seen as threats, even though they've been kind of eating losses the past couple of weeks. No one knows what's going on with Sheamus. And I love that it's kind of a middle finger to the whole wrestling commentary community of everyone being like, oh, he's done at WrestleMania. He's done. This is clearly what this is going. Sheamus is still there and putting on really good matches.
And also he, like, films all these really hot workout videos all the time.
Oh. Have that as your first-person cell phone video.
Cien Almas finally made his debut. He wrestled against the local Jake Constantino, whatever, and then beat him handily. And then Zelina rightfully was like, we were expecting more. This is supposed to be spec time, and you give us this hometown loser. Do you know who we are? Sidebar, did you see that tweet that Austin Aries sent out? He was like, congratulations, because they have been not together for a long time, but neither of them have really come out and said it. It's just like people inferred because she's like, here's my solo apartment with my cat. Yeah. Whatever. But he put out a tweet that was like, congratulations to my ex-girlfriend. So saying like, we are broken up and being like, I know how much hard work it takes. Like, she did great. I'm so happy for her. And I was like, Austin Aries did a nice thing.
Austin Aries eating the crow in like the best way.
Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe I am allowed to like you again.
Dip a toe in that water. Dip a toe in that water. He's a great wrestler.
I love
and
Austin
Aries. Yeah. And I share Zelina's disappointment.
But I like that idea of them.
Sure.
That's a good storyline, right? Yeah. Like, we share their disappointment genuinely, but also like, this is a crowded ass roster. Make that point.
Hopefully they're building excitement to see Almas in a more competitive match because that's where he really shines.
He should get the United States Championship next.
Yes. Absolutely. I'm fine with him having a secondary belt within weeks of right now. Absolutely.
Okay, so Lana's not trying to break them up. She's maybe in the stable now?
Yeah. I love this. They definitely dumped it. They definitely dumped 2 weeks ago of her trying to break
Sidebar,
up.
would be okay if they were Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. Would solidly be okay with it. And I would only be okay with Lana being Miss Money in the Bank if Rusev is simultaneously Mr. Money in the Bank.
That is exactly it. And it's gonna happen because of some kind of fuckery. Because honestly, at this point, like Lana climbing up a ladder in the middle of the ring in your head, like isn't a thought to me that works.
She's probably not gonna get in the match. You can't have the match. Billy already lost her shot.
Yes.
Or Peyton already lost her shot. So the likelihood is that one of the Iconics is going to get it, and that would be Billy. So it's probably not going to be Lana. But as much as I kind of want it to be, I kind of want this stable to be made of Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. I really liked it.
That is how you make your big Mardi Gras float of Rusev Day, like, continue being buoyant for the next 6 months, right? They're the Money in the Bank couple. It would be awesome. Yeah. But, like, that segment made you want that thing.
Right,
which is
for
cool.
Sure. And we've been saying for weeks, like, we want a stable that is men and women. And if Rusev Day is a stable of men and women, like, I would like that.
And it's not gonna, if it's not gonna be Sanity, which would be the most obvious choice, then yeah, I'm totally fine with it.
Also, where the fuck is Sanity?
Also, where the fuck is Sanity? Yes.
Whatever. Becky qualified. The Iconics had a hilarious word association video.
Everything the Iconics does is amazing.
It was also perfectly timed. They clearly practiced that many times, but it didn't seem stiff. It just seemed like they were in tune with each other.
They've practiced that, but also they clearly have been friends for as long as they've been purported to be.
Yeah, I mean, they went to high school together.
Yeah.
Even though they were in different grades. I've only ever listened to one Lillian Garcia, and it was the Iconics.
Fine. But straight up facts that are helpful now that you got from that podcast. Hell yeah.
Joe also called out Cass, which was like, all right, if we want to watch Cass get killed by Joe, I'm fine with that.
I am fine with watching Samoa Joe beat the fuck out of Big Cass, especially if Big Cass is supposed to have a bad knee now. Samoa Joe's gonna fucking chomp that up.
And finally, Shinsuke beat AJ Styles and now gets to choose the stipulation for their Money in the Bank match.
Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles, shampoo versus conditioner.
That is a ridiculous thing to say.
I was pretty proud of myself when I wrote it down in my notes.
Shampoo versus conditioner.
And it's going to be really interesting to see what old Pinchasa picks as his stipulation. Is it going to be a
Dick on a pole match?
Spiked cod piece on a pole match?
A bullwhip in a Hell in a Cell Inferno match?
That segment between AJ and Renee was
because
really
Renee
cute.
is the best.
It was really good.
Renee's segments with AJ and Shinsuke were great.
Really.
Renee, as the third member of this feud, is great.
Yes.
That's it. That's wrestling. Any other thoughts? That's wrestling.
That's wrestling. Yeah, hold on. Let me look at my notes. That's it. This was possibly the best match in their feud that they've had, strangely.
Possibly, yes. It
Absolutely.
was. Full stop, it was. But it makes sense almost. Like, it's like they're crescendoing. Like, they had a disappointing match that then turned into, because it was supposed to be the match that stole the show, and it was just fine. And then it turned into dick shots, and then it turned into more dick shots, and then it turned into an actual match with a fake dick shot, and then it's going to culminate in, like, a real match.
So if it's the two of them building these matches, they're doing a great job, and they are kind of putting a middle finger at everyone who said their match at WrestleMania was underwhelming, because you still care now. You do. You still fucking
If that
care
was
now.
the plan all along, then yeah, that was brilliant. But
Absolutely.
if it wasn't, it was still an underwhelming match.
The other note I had on my list was just a random off from 205 Live, which is just, Flash, please look out for your face.
Oh, yeah.
Flash Morgan Webster, I love you. I want you to stay healthy,
I guess we
but Flash,
did.
please look out your face.
We talked about it, but we didn't. But
Yeah,
the two matches were really good, and I really appreciated that Buddy Murphy package. That was really
Mm-hmm.
great. I had never seen Flash Morgan. I know that people love him. Like, Courtney Rose is, like, all about him, and I thought he was fun. His character comes through immediately.
Yes.
And boy, his face just broke immediately. What is it, Drew Needham in the face?
Holy diver, yes. And just his jaw being bloody fucking red. Flash is great in the ring. Flash is another guy who went back away for injury for a long time. That was they actually mentioned it in announcing that Zack Sabre Jr. in the match that he had with him for the qualifiers for the Cruiserweight Classic, he broke a bunch of shit. It was like his knee and his ankle and like a bunch of shit in the match that he had with Zack Sabre Jr. ZSJ. You will tap out. Sorry.
He just went full. You went somewhere there.
I went full Takamichinoku. It's okay. But yeah, no, I was really, really happy to see Flash on the program.
He fit really well with Cedric and Mustafa too. Knowing nothing about him, he fit really well with
I
them.
loved that segment with the three of them being like Flash, and like they never said the word mod, which pisses me off. But I guess that's kind of a cultural thing that massive WWE audience. Wouldn't
his
necessarily
outfit
get.
Came through.
Yeah.
It came through.
It
to
like
me.
nothing. They never said that word, but nothing was different about Flash throughout. So I was excited about that. But dude, your face, please. Oh,
I also really appreciated Tyler Bate and TJP continuing this feud in a 4-way. Like, it was a really interesting 4-way. Like, it was fun, and I'd never seen Kenny Williams, and that I thought he was really good. But that match served as I like that they could get more people in the match. Like, there was only 2 matches on the show, and there was 10 people used. And normally I would complain about something like that, but I think they handled both of the matches well. And the first match still served as a Tyler Bate TJP feud type deal.
The only other itching thought in the back of my head about 205 Live is, why the fuck isn't this title match on a pay-per-view?
Yes, that pissed me off. My theory is it's not gonna... Either Buddy's gonna win it and it will trigger the rematch on Money in the Bank pre-show, or there'll be shenanigans and that will trigger Money in the Bank pre-show.
But there's no reason that title matches of 205 Live should not happen on WWE's monthly pay-per-views. There's just no fucking excuse for it.
Well, I think because it's now a co-branded pay-per-view and they don't know where to fit enough stuff, 205 Live gets the shot.
It's just dumb because that's going to be a good match. Who's ever in those matches are going to be a good match.
I'm into Buddy Murphy.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good match.
That's it. Okay, so now that's wrestling. Sorry.
That's wrestling. That's our new catchphrase. This is wrestling.
Stella and I need to shortly run off to attack.
Yes, we do. But before that, we have one new review. It says, hilarious and informative from Super Basic Dude. 5 stars. As a basic white dude, I know all about those basic white dude opinions on wrestling. This is a wonderful alternative that actually increases my enjoyment of wrestling as a whole. So thank you, even though Bobby is a white dude, but not basic.
Thanks, Super Basic White Dude. That's actually why I will never have a wrestling podcast of my own. I'll always come on, like, I'll support Not Your Demographic anytime they ask me to come on. I'll support other, like, overtly feminist or queer wrestling podcasts, but, like, I'm a white dude in my mid-30s, and regardless of my sexuality, like, y'all don't need more of me in wrestling media at all.
And the good news is you won't get more of him, because this is his final week filling in for Erin. She will be back next week.
That's not an insult. That's actually super good
That is
news.
just a fact of life.
Yeah, it's a fact. Yeah.
Dummy. You can find us on the internet. I'm at Stella_Cheeks.
I'm at Haberdasher9K.
You can find Erin at ErinGenC, and you can find us at Not Your Demo Pod on Twitter. Follow, because it makes my heart feel good when people follow us. I don't know. You can email us. We've got a couple of emails. I'm going to discuss them with Erin when she gets back. You can email us at notyourdemo@gmail.com. You can also find us on iTunes, where you should rate, review, and subscribe. That's it. That's all the wrestling.
Funk is on and round.
No.
That's a callback from the first time I was on this podcast, like,
because I used to love that song. Funk is on around. I hate Tyrus, but I just make that's
so
Naomi's.
Again, another callback. That for a hot minute was Xavier Woods' theme in NXT.
Oh my god, it's Naomi's theme, old theme.
Yeah, you're right. It's now Naomi's.
2 words for you.
Premode.
Dramatic. Bye. We have to go to tech rehearsal.
Thank you. Bye forever.